Hello everyone, I am Professor Roy. Today we are going to talk about gender and development. Before we dive in, I would like to thank you, Ma'am Janine, for inviting me to this class. Are you ready? Ready guys? Before we start, let us try to play this game. Simply, identify the gender that you preferred. If your answers are dominated by female or male, your perspective needs to be modified. If you know gender awareness, your answers would be both genders. What do you mean by gender awareness? The knowledge and understanding of the differences in roles and relations between women and men, especially in the society. It is important to continuously raise gender awareness and understanding among teachers and students, where it begins before shifting to workplace. At the end of the session, you are expected to have gender awareness and gender sensitivity, boost of gender roles and standards for women and men, elimination of restricting standards. You will be able to discuss the difference between biological and social. Construction of gender identity. Help us promote gender equality and social justice in school, workplace, and home. Gender and development, GAD, mandate is stipulated in the 1987 Philippine Constitution. Philippine Commission on Women, PCW, Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women. Republic Act 10, 5, 33 and Republic Act No. 9, 7, 10. Gender inequality refers to unequal treatment or perceptions of individuals based on their gender. It arises from differences in socially constructed gender roles. Discrimination based on gender is a common civil rights violation that takes many forms, including sexual harassment, discrimination, unequal treatment in our society, and discrimination in employment and education. To overcome gender inequality, we need to have gender-sensitive society. The integration of gender-sensitive teaching strategy remains to be a challenge among educators. This social issue requires more in-depth exploration, especially in the classroom, to promote its significance and determine its applicability and effectiveness. Gender identity is one's sense of being male, female, or a third gender. Individuals are expected to exclusively identify either as male or female. However, some individuals believe that this binary model is illegitimate and identify as a third or mixed gender. Gender identity is socially constructed, yet it still pertains to one's sense of self. Gender identity is not only about how one perceives one's own gender, but also about how one presents one's gender to the public. Individuals whose gender identity aligns with their sex organs are said to be cisgender. Transgender individuals are those whose gender identity does not align with their sex organs. These people generally dress according to how they feel but do not make a drastic change within their sexual organs. Transsexuals, however, take drastic measures to assume their believed identity. Today it is largely believed that most gender differences are attributed to differences in socialization, rather than genetic and biological factors. Gender stereotypes can be a result of gender socialization. Girls and boys are expected to act in certain ways that are socialized from birth. Children and adults who do not conform to gender stereotypes are often ostracized by peers for being different. In short, gender socialization is the process by which individuals are taught how to socially behave in accordance with their assigned gender, which is assigned at birth based on their biological sex. We often hear that gender is socially constructed. What does that mean? Is it true? The popular idea that gender is socially constructed might be summed up as follows. There is a difference between sex and gender. Sex is biological, while gender is psychological, social, or cultural. A person's gender can be different from a person's sex. Gender is thus socially constructed in the sense that, unlike biological sex, gender is a product of society. If society determines what is masculine or feminine, then society can change what is considered masculine, feminine, or anything in between. No one needs to be locked into fixed gender categories. Any individual is free to identify their gender as they see fit. Social constructivists propose that there is no inherent truth to gender. It is constructed by social expectations and gender performance. Social constructionism is the notion that people's understanding of reality is partially, if not entirely, socially situated. Gender is a social identity that needs to be contextualized. The first and most important aspect of gender sensitivity is to be open to the perspective and feelings of any colleague of the opposite gender. This could be a simple case of knowing enough about the personal issues to more nuanced understanding of gender-specific aspects such as comments or jokes that could be offensive. Gender sensitivity is the process by which people are made aware of how gender plays a role in life through their treatment of others. Our education system needs to be gender-sensitive and gender-friendly. One of the best possible strategies to minimize gender discrimination in society is to promote gender awareness at all levels of society. We can promote gender awareness in parents by school-parent partnership needs to be strengthened to identify gender issues in homes. Parents should be advised to treat both their sons and daughters as equals. Instead of telling their daughters to behave properly, mothers should teach their sons to respect all women as equal. Gender sensitivity in schools. Schools can play an important role in inculcating gender sensitivity in etiquettes and manners of students. It is necessary to create a gender-responsive school in which the academic, social, and physical environment and its surrounding community take into account the specific needs of girls and boys. A detailed action plan with a definite roadmap is required in the school curriculum to achieve gender equality. Gender sensitivity among teachers. Teachers play a very important role in the early upbringing of a child. Their idea and beliefs can change the thought processes of young children. Children in the formative years easily nurture values and virtues taught to them. Gender sensitivity training should be mandatory for teachers. The training will enable him to disseminate the desirable attitude based on mutual respect and trust between girls and boys. We all know that the teachers sometimes inadvertently make disparaging remarks about capabilities or characteristics of either gender, so we need to cope with knowledge, attitude, skills, and methodologies that promote gender equality. Are you still with me? Are you still with me, guys? Okay, another, classrooms need to be gender sensitive. We have to take care of few do's and don'ts for making classroom interaction gender sensitive. Plan and conduct activities that give opportunity to all children accepting one another as equals. Make mixes groups for group activities and games. Try to switch role for breaking down gender barriers and stereotyping of gender roles. Address and call on girls and boys equally. Do not segregate boys and girls in the classroom in primary classes. Thank you, my dear students. I hope you learned something from me. Thank you, Ma'am Janine. I really appreciate it. See you next time.